what's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Cinema Discussions. Today, I want to talk about the Western genre. Yeah, I'm going to take a back seat from the other things that I've discussed in the past. I want to talk about this practically, would you say, almost dead genre, but I've heard through the grapevine that this genre slowly starting to get a comeback. I'm like, really? I don't think so. I want to hear your thoughts on it. But before I ask, here's what I want you guys to think about. When you think Western, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Who's the first person that comes to mind? You probably think of Clint Eastwood. That's who I think of. Yeah, the classic, the good, the bad, and the ugly. All that, all right? If you want to think even further, you think John Wayne. And you want to go back even further than John Wayne, you're probably looking at, let's say, The Great Train Robbery. That was one of the earliest silent movies that I remember watching. And believe it or not my favorite, but it's still iconic because it's a classic. It set the tone, or I kind of like laid the groundwork for future westerns and future cinema in general. Like there's a lot I could talk about that, but maybe I'll talk about the silent era, maybe in a future video, maybe a future episode or something like that. But anyway, so when you think of that, and you're like, wow, it just invokes up like, wow, this movie genre was cool, it was fun, it was exciting. But then again, we look at it through the modern day, you look at it like it's kind of boring. But here's the thing: you gotta be in the right mind to appreciate a good Western. And here comes another good question I want to ask every one of you: what Western do you remember from the last decade or so that was memorable or was good? Or do you remember any? Like, there's none. Like, there's only three movies I can probably think of that of the modern setting that kind of of the modern Western, with 3:10 to Yuma, the True Grit remake, and Cowboys vs. Aliens, which of course I do not want to talk about. I tried to watch that and it sucked. Okay, if you're gonna try to mesh science fiction and Western or an alien thing and Western, it doesn't really hold out, but let's see, it just fails to capture anything. Sorry about that. There was something on my screen, but anyway, yeah, it just doesn't work about it. The Westerns have a charm to them. Like it invokes a sense of this was of like American spirit, the exploring the frontier land and all that good stuff. Okay, and like seriously. You can look back, like, believe it or not, I believe on my Instagram page I posted a picture of my girlfriend's father's John Wayne collection, and looking at that you could just go back in time and just say, oh wow, these were a product of their time. Like if you there was some kind of charm to them, and when you look at them, it's like they all of them had some kind of convincing story that really fit, that really shoes in the elements and the style of the Western. Okay, where it's like noble hero. You got you got the sheriff in town. All the classic good guy, bad guy things. But yeah, it all draws inspiration from the real West. Okay, like if you can go back in time, you think like the Tombstone era. Like Wyatt Earp and his brothers at the gunfight at the OK Corral. I remember that. I actually have a sheriff's badge from the Tombstone territory, folks. So. Yeah, all that should invoke some excitement and something that says, oh, this is a part of American history. This time it was like that kind of thing. So yeah, and like you can still, and like all these great themes from the Western really echoes into today's mediums, especially when it comes to video games. Hello, Red Dead Redemption. As soon as you play that game, you can clearly say, oh my God, this is like probably Unforgiven. Given the good, the bad, the ugly, and every classic Western you can probably think of, cranked up to 11, and just pumped in with a shit ton of steroids, booze, boobs, and everything else. Sorry about that, but you get my point. So yeah, like if you think about that should make you excited for like oh I want to see a good Western. Sadly, there's not, okay, because there's not a lot of Westerns because get this. Westerns I've been told, are probably the most expensive genre to create, and I agree because think about this: when you make a Western movie, look at all those old fashioned towns, okay. Believe it or not, some of those were handmade by themselves. If you thought they were actually like places in like the desert or like Death Valley, California or Arizona, No, they were filmed on a freaking Hollywood back lot, and the fact that it took so much arduous time to get in all the elements, try to make things historically accurate. It's a time killer, and not to mention it's really expensive when you're trying to find Victorian era clothing, trying to get the Stetsons, the Smith and Wessons, and yeah, it's hard to do that. And there's a reason why Hollywood tries not to do this as much. Yeah, it's okay. I'd say if the money and the interest is there, they would probably make a good Western. But here's a thing, Hollywood. For the love of God, please do not remake any classic Western movies. You tried and you failed with The Magnificent Seven, okay? I tried to get through that, and I'm going to say this right now. The Magnificent Seven remake is garbage. You want the good Magnificent Seven? Watch the original with Ernest Borgnine. Or better yet, you want the real story that was the inspiration for the Magnificent Seven? Find the Seven Samurai movies from Japan, because that kind of inspired the whole thing. There's some similarities between that movie and this. So yeah, so you probably know where I'm going with this, is that everything is connected to from our civilization to other civilizations, okay? There are connections, but here's the thing. You got to take what you get and you got to deliver, okay? You can't just half-ass everything and just fail to deliver. And of course, yeah, obviously Westerns can be important because of the story and the pacing of it, okay? Because it's just long and drawn out, okay? You're expecting explosions, boobs, and booze. This is not the genre it is, but there is, but the Magnificent Seven movie itself, the last act gets really, really good, especially when it comes to action, because there's a whole guns a-blazing, there's explosions. I really don't want to give the climax of that movie away. That's probably a future Action Sunday review where I'll probably just review some classic Westerns, but you get my point, okay? There's some really good ones that will still stand the test of time, but in the back of your mind, it's they're products of their time. It's sad that there's not a lot of good ones today, because every aspect of every Western always has some charm, because the people that worked their hardest on those movies really took notes from history, and if you don't take notes from history or change history, then you're pissing off the wrong people, and this is the thing that I hate. Okay, try not to change history. History was already set. Okay, do not go back and change it, okay? You can't change it, all right? And that's why the Western genre, I really think, should try to become a comeback. And if you want to do it right, you got to follow the letter, okay? There's formulas for every movie, especially the good and the bad and the ugly. Take something similar to that. You follow that kind of aesthetic, and you can probably make things good, okay? Or else the Western genre is going to die. And quite frankly, I feel like it's kind of dying, but there's only one movie I was told they can tell is slowly starting to get a comeback, but maybe give it time, maybe another year or two, maybe there's got to be interest for more Westerns, okay? And like I said, I'm not expecting remakes. No, you can literally think of any kind of idea and just set in the Western. And better yet, there are movies that take this Western saying. Case in point, Star Wars. It's literally a space Western set in space. Or better yet, Moon 02. It's even earlier than Star Wars. That's a movie that I think you guys should really check out. I think you would get a kick out of that, all right? But yeah. So to everyone, okay? If you want good Westerns, find John Wayne or Barry Clint Eastwood. Avoid the remakes, okay? So that's my word of warning, and I want to hear your thoughts. Should the Western genre come back? Is there some kind of formula that I think I think Hollywood should try to bring back and try to make it better or improve on it or pay homage to it? There's a whole lot of suggestions there, and I want to see where it happens. Okay. That's just for today. Let me know what you think. Thumbs up this video, subscribe to my channel, stay tuned for some more awesome, exciting videos.